Hello and welcome to Unreal Made Easy, and in today's video we're going to cover how to add motion matching to your project. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to import the animations from Lyra project. We're going to also enable the motion match plugin in this step. Next we're going to set up the blueprint for the character so we can activate some of our states. And then finally we're going to do the motion match logic, and then that'll wrap it up. So without further ado, let's go ahead and begin. All right, the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to open a fresh third-person project in 5.4, and we're going to start with the edit button here, and we're going to just do some quick settings and add the plugin. So first, let's go to editor preferences, and we're just going to change right here to the asset location to main window, just to make it easier for us because we're going to be opening a lot of tabs. Next, we're going to want to go down here and we're going to create the folder, and we're going to call this motion matching or match. And then while we're here, we're going to edit, and we're going to go to the plugins, and we're going to type in TRAJ, and we're going to enable the plugin. Yes. And this will enable right here. And then, yeah, go ahead and restart. Okay, so next we're going to download these Lyra, the starter game, and we're going to pull the animations from it. I found it best to use this one instead of ALS or the Mixamo because their root motion doesn't work quite as well. It's more of a walk-in-place type of animation. So we're going to go with this one. Okay, now that we're here inside the Lyra project, we're just going to go to the content folder. We're going to go to characters, go to heroes, go to the mannequin, and go to animations. Now, the only folder we want is this locomotion, so we're just going to grab that because it's got everything that we need. So we're going to right click, we're going to select migrate. Okay, so once you're in your project, like mine's is saved under a folder, and it's right here. You're going to select the content folder. Make sure this is highlighted. Make sure you can see it right here. And you're going to select that folder. And it's going to migrate that package to your project. And then after we're done here, we're going to close this out and open up our project. Okay, now that we're in our project, we're going to see that it actually downloaded the asset and opened into this folders. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to delete a lot of this because we'll get errors if we don't. So we're going to select this first folder, this anim modifiers, these notifications, layer, and then we don't need this, and that. So we're going to delete all these. So, basically you hold down Control, left click, and then right click once you have them all selected, and select delete. Yes, force delete. Yes, delete all three folders. Yes, delete this. Now, we should just be left with this locomotion here. We can open it up and we got all of our different states here. Now, before we continue, we're going to need to delete a couple more things here. So first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to just use a filter here, animations, and we're gonna get rid of the blend spaces. So if there's any blend spaces, we're also going to get rid of anim blueprints because we're not going to need those for this particular project. We're going to do a left click, Control A, right click, and we're going to delete. Yes, we can delete all that. Now we can go ahead and we can uncheck the animations folder. Next, we're going to need to go through each of these. Well, first we're going to need to do something. We're going to have to get certain ones. So we're going to need to delete certain animations because they're going to mix up the actual database. So we're going to start with a pivot. Okay, so we're not going to need any pivots. So we're going to go ahead and highlight that, Control A, and we're just going to go ahead and select the delete button, force that to delete. So we don't need any pivots. Give that a second. The other thing we don't need is we can type in 180. We don't need these 180 turns. Select all that, delete it. Yep, and delete 180. And then now, while we're in these folders, now we're going to need everything in the unarmed. So unfortunately, we have to go through these folders one by one. So for the pistol, we're going to get rid of, let's see, the crouch animation, because we're not going to use that for this tutorial, just to save time. Select the crouch. So left click and then hold down shift. Left click, select all those and delete. Yep, forcefully delete those. We're going to do the same thing over here on the left. Click the rifle. And while it has the crouch, left click. Same thing. Hold down shift, delete. Force delete. And next, we're going to do the jump. So we're not going to need the rifle jump. We're going to left click, same thing. Just repeat the process. Back to pistols. Get the jumps out of that. And we're going to force and delete that. Yep, that should be everything. Now, we don't want to touch the unarmed yet, so hold that. And then, yes, okay. Now, we're going to go back to the locomotion folder, animations, and we're going to scroll down here on the side here, and we're going to see our motion match right here. We're going to drag and drop this locomotion into the motion match. Yes, we can move it here. All right, let's go to the motion match folder. Now, okay, so while we're here, we're going to go ahead and create our motion match assets along with an animation blueprint. So it's going to be 4 assets we're going to create real quick. Motion match. So we're going to start with the pose search schema, and we're going to need to use our characters, so that where it says game characters mannequin meshes, we're going to use that. And we're going to call this PSS underscore Manny. Enter. Go to the next one. We're going to create all 3 of those assets. So motion match. We're going to create the pose search normalization dataset. So PSNS underscore. We're going to name that Manny as well. Enter. And then finally, we're going to have to create several assets here. They're going to be duplicates. So we're going to go to motion match, and we're going to get the database. This is where we're going to store. Yeah, we're going to use this schema here, the one we just created. And we're going to call this PSD, pose search database, underscore, base movement, okay? So just base. And then we're just going to do a quick Control-Shift-S. Oh, note, see right here it says 3 unsaved. Yeah, just do a Control-Shift-S and the stars right here. Control-Shift-S, and that'll save all those. Now, let's go ahead. We're going to highlight this. While this is highlighted, we're going to do a Control-D. We're going to do this 4 times. So we're going to do Control-D as in David, enter, Control-D again, enter, Control-D again, enter, Control-D again, enter. Now, we need all these databases so we can create our different modes. So for the first one, we're going to do crouch. So we're going to do an F2 here. We're going to call this crouch. And we're just going to name each of them the same way. So for this next one, we're going to do F2 here again. Call this jump. And then we're going to need to do this 3 here. And we're going to do pistols. It's going to be a pistol stance. And then finally, we're going to do the rifle. Now, the rifle and shotgun are pretty much the same, so that's why I just figured I'd just do the rifle. So we're going to rifle. And then we're going to Control-Shift-S, and that's going to save all of these. Now, we're going to need to go into our third-person blueprint. So right here on the left, just click on the third person. Go into the blueprint here. And what we're going to do is we're going to highlight this, and we're going to, do this again. We're going to just Control-D real quick. And I like to do this for every project, Control-Shift-S. I like to do that just in case I mess something up in the blueprint. I can always go back. But we're going to use the original blueprint. So double click it. Now in here, we're going to have to create some variables and some code. To start with, we're going to need the component. So we're going to type in, or we're going to hit the add button, TRAJ again. We're going to need this trajectory component and just hit enter. And then we're going to need two variables. We're going to need CHIR, and then we're going to call it char crouch. Okay. Put a question mark because it's going to be a Boolean. And then we're going to add one more, and we're going to call this char, which for character, weapon mode. Enter. And then right here, we're going to change this one to an integer. Okay. Now, we're going to need some event keys to trigger off some of these events. So for the first one, we're going to need the C key. So we're going to type in C key, and this is going to be for our crouch. Go down here. I know it's a pain. Got to scroll down, find the C. And then we're going to also need the middle mouse button, because we're going to use that to just so we can see our animations a little bit clearer and change the orientation. So for here, we're also going to need to do a flip-flop, right? While this is highlighted, go down here, Control D, and we can go ahead and hook those up. Hook those up real quick. And then we're going to just drag and drop. Oh, not the trajectory. Sorry, wrong one. We're going to drag and drop the character movements because we're going to be altering both of those. So in both cases here. Okay, so for up here, we're going to hold down Alt, and we're going to drag the character crouch here. Just keep holding down Alt, drag them both in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to drag off of here, and we're going to do a set walk speed, max walk speed, right here. And we're going to, while that's highlighted, have our mouse right below it, Control D again. And we're going to make sure these are all hooked up. Go ahead and hook everything up, like so. So everything can execute. Now, when we want to go into crouch mode, we're gonna check true for that. And then for the max speed, when we're crouched, we're gonna do 200. And then for the max walk, we're gonna go back to our default, which is 500. And we do a compile save. Now, for down here, we're gonna need to get the orient. Wait, how does it go? I want to say it's orient. Yeah, we're going to set the rotation. And then we're also going to drag off of here again. And we're going to set for the desired rotation. So we're going to set both of those. And we can just go ahead and hook those up. And we're going to highlight both of these. So we can just do like this. Go down here, Control D, and hook that up. And check these boxes here. Okay, and that should cover that. Compile. Oh, almost forgot. This is why you compile and save. You want to make sure that you're targeting the component. Compile, save. Okay, next we're going to want to have a way to select our weapon mode. So we're going to have to set up 3 keys. So we're going to do the 1, 2, 3 keys. So we're going to do 1 key. There's the 1 key. 2 key. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab the weapon here, the weapon mode, and we're going to hold down Alt, do the same thing like we did before. We're just going to drag 3 of them on here. So by pressing these keys, we're going to change each of the indexes of where we store the weapon modes. So 0, and then we're going to do 1, go in order, because everything starts in 0 and blueprints and coding, and then we're going to do 2. Compile and save. Okay, so while we're here, we're going to select the character mesh. Let's see, open that up a little bit. And we're going to change this anim class. We're going to change it to the one we created. So we're going to have to go to our content folder, to where our motion match is. Select it. Oh, I'm sorry, we haven't created it yet. So we need to create an animation blueprint. So we're going to right click here, create the animation blueprint. We're going to use the same skeleton. So it's going to be the game character Manny mesh. Create that. And we're going to call it AM animation ABP underscore custom Manny. Right? Control Shift S, and that'll save it. And we can reduce the content drawer. Now, when we go right here, because this is highlighted, we can just go ahead and hit this arrow to change it to this animation state. Compile, save. That should be all we need to do for this now. So now while we're here, we're going to go ahead and open up the animation blueprint. Okay. Now, before we start, we're going to start in the event graph. And we're going to set up some things here. Okay, so we're going to do the POG owner, but we're going to need to do an initialize. So we're going to type in initialize INI blueprint. So this event blueprint right here. And then we're going to drag off of here, and we're going to do a cast to third-person character. So right here. Hook that up. And then we're going to promote this variable here, because we're going to need that for the rest of the blueprint. Compile and save. Now this just created this animation blueprint here. I'm sorry, not animation blueprint. This created the reference. So we're going to get that. And then we're going to need some things off of this one. So this is coming off of the third-person character, which is here. That's a representation of this. Compile and save. So first thing we're going to need the trajectory. So we're gonna get TRAJ, get the trajectory. Oh, and then we're just gonna. Sorry, I know my videos take a little bit long, but I just like neatness. I don't know why. So again, I'm sorry about that. But let's continue. Okay, so right here we're gonna also do. Oh, sorry, we're gonna promote this variable. So we're going to just promote it, and we're going to leave it as its current name. I'm going to hook that up. Next, we're going to grab the movement component. So we're going to get character movement. Scroll to the bottom, it's right here. So we want to affect the movement, promote that to a variable as well. Yep, and we can hit enter, scroll in a little bit so you can see it good. And we're going to need to do, we want to do the character crouch. So we're going to go char crouch. So we're going to get, we're going to get the character crouch. Yes. And then for that, okay, we're going to promote it to a variable. And we're not going to call it that. We're just going to actually rename it to just plain crouch, because it's actually a variable for this particular blueprint. That's the naming scheme I tend to like to do. Next, we're going to get a movement component. We're going to get is falling, which is the character movement. So if the character is falling, we're going to need that for our jump. And basically, anytime the character is in the air, we're going to use this particular variable. So we're going to drag off of here, and we're going to promote that as well. Name it to in air, question mark. I'm going to set that. And then finally, we're going to need to, well, we can compile and save again. We're going to need the weapon mode. So that's going to be important. So let's go ahead and get the char weapon mode. So get that. We're going to drag off of here. We're going to promote that to a variable as well. To our weapon mode. Again, I'm just going to call this just weapon mode. Because I don't, yeah. Naming convention, weapon mode. And we're going to compile and save that. That should cover everything for the anim graph, or for the event graph. Let's go ahead and move on to the anim graph. And what we're going to need here is we're going to need to get the, let's go ahead and get the motion match node. So, and it's going to look like this one under pose search. So we're going to need that. We're also going to need to see, we're going to need the bool. So we're going to, while that's highlighted, we're going to just go ahead and do a control D because we're going to need that again. And then right here, we're going to get the node called bool pose. Yeah, blend by bool. And we're going to connect that to the true, because when we change states, that's how we're going to do it. Highlight this over here. We're going to duplicate again. I know you guys are irritated with me saying duplicate, and I'm sorry, but this is the fastest way I know how to do this. Okay, so we're going to connect all this to the false as it's going through the different stages. And then from here, we're going to drag off of here, and we're going to get a select node. Okay. Okay, we can move that right here, neaten it up. And then we're going to add one pin here. Now, for the wild card, we're just going to, well, actually, let's not even do that yet. Let's go ahead and set these different ones. So for the 0, we're going to do the base. For the next one, we're going to do the crouch. I'm sorry, not the crouch. We're going to do pistol, and then we're going to do rifle. This would be set up just like that. Now we're going to drag and want the check marks here and put the weapon mode. That's going to select our weapon mode right there. Next, we're going to want to do the crouching here. So that's the crouch database. And in order to act that, we're going to use this boolean here, this crouch. Then next for this one here, this is going to be for the in air one, which is going to be our jumping. And we're going to select the jump one here. So now we've got all of our different states. And then from here, we're going to need to grab a pose history. So pose history. And then in here, we're going to right click on this trajectory, select the pin, select the trajectory right here that we have. We created, and then we're going to just go ahead and connect that. Now, although we're not going to be doing any montages, I still like to, get the default slot and hook that up, just in case you want to add montages later. So we can do that. Compile and save. Okay, so now we're going to need to add all the databases. We're going to need to add animations to the databases. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to start by hitting the content drawer here while we're in our motion matching folder. We're going to select the first one. Then select everything that says PSD. So right here. And we're going to right click and we're going to select edit. That's going to open all the folders at once. Now, once that happens, we can go here. Let's make sure we're in the right one. We're going to start with the base, and we're just going to go in order. Go to our locomotions. Go to the unarmed. Do a left click, Control A. And then we're just going to drag all these animations in. Now, there's certain animations we don't need for the base, so we're going to need to get rid of the jump. We're not going to need that for this one. Delete. We're also going to get rid of the crouch. Select the first part. Control A, delete. And then next, we're going to need to do the idle. So IDLE. Oh, spell it right. There we go. Now, I like the scan, so I'm probably going to grab the idle break scans for each one of these. So I'm just going to do a Control A, select that. Do a Control a left click to deselect that, and then just delete. And that should cover all that. And then we're just going to hit save. Let's move on to the next one. Next will be back to locomotion. Let's see, unarmed. We're going to do the crouch animation. So crouch. And we're just going to do the same thing, do the Control A to grab and drag all these in. Same thing here. Okay, so exit and entry we don't need, so we can do a left click here, right click, or sorry. If you go ahead and delete those, then we're also gonna check out how many idles we got. We only want to use one idle, so yeah, that should be good. So we got one idle here, save. Now the jump one, we're gonna go to the next one. It's pretty simple. So for the jump one, we're gonna go and we're gonna type in jump loop. And we're just going to use these two because anything else, it seemed to make it glitch when I played with this before. So let's go ahead and just add these two. Hit save. Now, we've got that. So let's make sure we got the base walk, we got the crouch, we got the pistol. Okay, so we're going to do the pistol next. Go back to the locomotion. We can close that. Go to pistol, left click, Control A. Let's go ahead and drag all those in. Delete the override. Type in idle. We're only going to use one, so we're going to highlight all these. Control A. And then we're going to Control Shift to deselect the idle break scan. D. And you can see here, it's kind of cool. Hit save, close that. And then, yeah, we should have everything there. And then finally, we're going to do the same exact thing for the rifle. So go back to the locomotion here. Go to rifle. Control A. Drag and drop it. Idle. Control A. Where's that idle break scan at? There it is. Left click. We're going to use that one. Delete. Hit save. Close that. And that should be good because, yeah. So now, once all that is done, that should cover it. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what we got. All right, so let's head to our third person map. Okay, before we continue, I made a slight mistake. I thought I had selected something. So we're going to go to the animation blueprint again. If you look right here, I didn't set this to rifle, so we had to switch that. So we're going to use the rifle. We're going to use the rifle right here. So now if we hit compile and save, now we can go back to our third person. Hit the play button. And then what we can do is, if you notice, we can switch through all the states. So first, let's just go ahead and hit the middle mouse button. And that's going to let us rotate around like this to change orientation. And we're going to do C for the crouching. We can walk around, we can crouch. We're going to hit the 2 button, or sorry, crouch button, 2. So now we're walking around like this. And then 3 is the rifle. So let's go ahead. So we got 1, which is our normal state, 2, which is our pistol state, and 3, which is our rifle state. And as you can see, we can hit the middle mouse button again just to change the orientation so we can strafe with them. We can hit the 2, we can strafe, and we got the jump. Sorry, I had to stop the video for a second. There's a setting I forgot. I'm going to show you guys real quick. Go to your content drawer. Under content, motion matching and locomotion, you're going to select the filter. Look at the animations, animation sequence. You're going to select an animation, Control A, right click, Asset Actions, edit property matrix. Now, right here, you're going to go to your root motion, and you're going to want to make sure you enable the root motion, which is right here, which I've already done. Make sure the force lock is on. As long as those are on for any animation that you're using, it'll be able to use the motion match. So anyway, that's the end of this.